Hmm? This one to mark this one. This one? Hmm? No, no, where to mark? No, I want to write on those files. I want to write on that file. Okay. Okay. Which one is better, this side or this side? Okay. Okay. Good evening. This is Sandeep Chakravarti, and today I would be discussing French Revolution as part of world history. Okay. First of all, French Revolution is an iconic moment in the history of the world, not just France history, throughout the world history. The reason for that is, even India is inspired by French Revolution, America was inspired, Russia was inspired, so many other countries, almost all the countries in Europe were inspired by French Revolution. The reason for that is the ideas freedom, or you call it liberty. Liberty is a better word. Actually, liberty is a positive word. It doesn't disturb the freedom of others, but freedom is unbridled, so better go for liberty, and then equality. There are other ideas like justice, fraternity, all those ideals were also there. You may call it ideals of French Revolution. The point is here, these are very basic, and we all know we are enjoying them in modern democracies. Liberty, equality, fraternity, justice are very much there, maybe in different degrees, different proportions. But the point is, when we are enjoying all this, we don't understand the value of these ideals. You will understand the importance of liberty, equality, justice in the conspicuous absence of them. When they are not there, then you will come to understand, okay, perhaps maybe during Corona you might have understood the importance of freedom or liberty, because you can't go out and meet people or have a dinner with the friends. That's the problem. So, these ideals took their birth in French Revolution. Very interestingly, the societies were very much divided in those days in all the countries, and people were resigned to the fact that okay, with or without liberty or equality, we will continue our lives. That sort of mindset was there. But this is like a game changer in the history of the world, which has brought to the notice of the people that these ideals are very important to survive with dignity. One minute. No, I would like to use this file. Okay. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. So, let us get started with the topic French Revolution. This lesson, this part of the topic is all about from 1774 to 1793 or 94, because it starts with the coronation of King Louis XVI, and ends with his execution. That part of the decade, or just 1 or 2 years more than that. So, these are all the incident that took place in between this one decade. One thing we have to understand is French Revolution, France was struggling to become a democratic country, but it doesn't become democratic country at the end of the revolution. But the kind of revolution, the way they fought for the ideals like freedom, equality, fraternity, justice was really remarkable, and that has inspired so many countries in Europe as well as other countries including India. That is why this is iconic moment in the history of the world, and these events that have unfolded during that one decade are very important. So, first of all, in this page we are going to discuss what really happens on the day of Bastille storming, and then we go back what were the reasons. So, for example, this is the day 1789. Actually, people were so angry with the king, they thought king was sending some troops to suppress the people. And then, if you ask me the immediate reason for French Revolution, it's very simple. It is a shortage of bread, as simple as that. There are so many reasons, but the immediate cause of French Revolution is shortage of bread. The reason is, you all know that a common man would not go for a revolution for many other things. He needs 3 square meals a day, and if he doesn't get meals or bread, then he revolts. Or otherwise, he doesn't have time and energy to fight against mighty kingdoms. That's why that is the immediate causes. There are many political, economical, many reasons are there, but this is the immediate reason. But here you can see that Bastille Fort, this is a symbol of despotic power. symbol of despotic power. People were really unhappy with that, because of the dynasty. Okay. What is the dynasty that ruled French people at that time? It is Bourbon. Bourbon dynasty. At that time, Habsburg Empire and Bourbon dynasty. These two were very popular throughout the Europe, and the king of France, okay, Louis XVI. Louis XVI. Okay, at the age of 20, he has taken the charge. He has ascended the throne. Now the point is, this Bastille was symbol of despotic power, and it is a fort turned into a prison. But at the time of storming the prison, there are only 7 people. But why did thousands of people stormed into Bastille, and then they just damaged everything there? The reason is they just wanted to access arms and ammunition to start their revolution. And also they were unhappy with that structure, because everybody was kept imprisoned in the prison. Okay, we all know that Louis XVI and his people before him, like 14th, 13th, particularly his grandfather, was actual culprit. He has to pay price for that. The reason is, we all know Great Britain is the arch rival of France, and Great Britain colonized so many countries in the world, including that of America. So now France people wanted to liberate 13 American colonies. They helped American colonies to liberate them. So now the point is, they have to fight prolonged wars. These prolonged wars drained their finances. Their exchequer became empty. Prolonged wars, that was the biggest problem. So his grandfather, okay, did that one, and he has to pay heavy price when he took the throne. Exchequer was empty. That was the biggest problem. He was very inexperienced, 20-year-old guy, okay, who was supposed to face a lot of problems, and exchequer finances were the biggest problem he faced immediately when he took charge of France. So now here, what these people did is, they stormed Bastille, they broke into Bastille, they accessed arms and ammunition, and then they have damaged everything. What they did is, they took some of the stones of that fortress, sold them in the market as souvenirs, okay, like mementos, because Bastille is a very famous fort, and this whole incident is such an important event in the history of France, and people were very, very interested to buy those fragments of stones of the fortress. So they actually sold them in the market as souvenirs. So this is actual incident happened. So you can say it took place in 1789 in France, Bastille fort, that is, we call it breaking into the Bastille fort, or you call it storming into Bastille fort. Now the point is, why did this happen? What are the reasons of French Revolution? How it all happened? So it's like we are going, it's like a discussing flashback, because I told you 1774 he ascended the throne, and then 1793 to 94, we are discussing this decade of events that unfolded. So, 1774, 1789, after he ascended, it happened. So, he was responsible for French Revolution, and the people before him were also responsible. But what are the real causes of a French Revolution? So, you can see that Bastille Fort, how it was stormed by the people, thousands of people thronging into the fortress, and then they were trying to damage. They even released those 7 prisoners who were there, they even released that. Main intention was to access ammunition, and then they wanted to fight because they thought, we don't know whether that was true or not, they thought there were rumors that king himself was sending a lot of troops to suppress the people. So, they wanted to prepare themselves for the upcoming revolution. This is what happened. Okay? And this guy, Louis XVI, actually Louis XVI, as I told you, he ascended the throne when he was 20 years, and actually his wife is Maria Antoinette. Maria Antoinette. Actually, she is an Austrian princess. This lady is also very much responsible for French Revolution. The reason is she spends a very lavish lifestyle, okay, and the amount of money she spends for her accessories or dresses or even for a hairstyle, everything was so expensive. And particularly these people, they have built a very big palace known as Versailles Palace. What is that? Actually, L is silent there. So, you have to pronounce it like a Versailles. It is Versailles Palace, and people call it, that is one of the spectacular, magnificent palaces all throughout the world. And actually, his grandfather has built it away from Paris. The reason is, they know that people are suffering, they know people are fighting, struggling for 3 square meals a day without bread, and they don't want to, they are not concerned about the suffering of the people. That's the biggest problem. They are not at all concerned with the suffering of the people. That is why they wanted to stay away from all this welfare of the people. That is the reason people has grown that enmity. They were so angry against the dynasty, Bourbon dynasty, because they were not at all concerned. They were living away from the city and spending lavish lifestyle. That there were some people, saying that the amount they spend on their food was equal to like 2 to 3 villages can eat that sort of food, the amount that is spent on that. So, and then we know Maria Antoinette, actually France and Austria was not that great friends at that time, but for it's like a political purpose to have a good relationship with France, Austria. So, Louis XVI married Maria Antoinette, princess of actually king of Austria is brother of Maria Antoinette. Okay, so French people very much hated this lady. That is one of the reasons. They were never, interested in the welfare of the people. They were only interested in their lavish, expensive lifestyle. That was their problem. So you can see that I told you they wanted to liberate 13 American colonies. So and apart from that, they have to spend a lot of money in maintaining the big palaces like Versailles, and then court, military, universities. So they have to spend a lot of money for all this. So what happened is, this is the biggest problem. 2 billion livres debt. 2 billion livres debt. So some people gave loans to government. Wealthy people in the country gave loans to government. Now the problem is, those people are asking that money, including 10% interest. So now government is under tremendous pressure to pay the loans to the individuals who has given loans to government. So that is another problem. So it's almost 2 billion livres. Livres is a French currency at that time. So this is what we have discussed so far, and then to meet these expenses, there is only one way. You see, whether those governments at that time, even present governments, when you are running out of money, when your exchequer is empty, finances are drained, governments see only one thing. Instead of creating wealth, what they do is they impose taxes. And Louis XVI was not different from those people. So he was trying to find different ways to impose taxes on French people. Okay. So now the problem is, French society was really one minute. No. Okay. So French society was divided into estates. This is very important concept, try to understand. It is one of the important reasons for French Revolution. Okay. So if you see here, whole society was divided into 3 estates. One is clergy. So clergy means actually people related to church. You may say priests or even bishops, those sort of people, church. But one thing you have to understand, religious people in modern democracies may not have that clout. They still have that influence, but in those days they have very much big influence, clout. They can influence kings also. And then second estate were nobility. Okay, these are feudal lords. They have huge swaths of land, hundreds of acres of lands, and then all the poor people have to work for them with or without wages, like bonded labor, indentured labor. So that is a feudal lords. And then now comes the most discriminated, miserable class of that society, that is third estate. Here, if you see here, in third estate itself, you have three categories. You have three categories. And remember, these are the game changers. These are the game changers. Later, they are going to become a force to reckon with. That means they are going to become a middle class, a strong, educated, wealthy middle class. Wealthy middle class. And they take the lead of the French Revolution. Lead of the French Revolution. Because these people also tried to start a revolution, but they didn't have the number, they didn't have the energy, they didn't have the wealth. That's why they were not successful in starting the revolution. But here if you see, big businessmen, merchants, court officials, lawyers, they were all first category of third estate who will become a strong force of middle class people. You try to understand whether it is a French Revolution or Russian Revolution, middle class people, working class people are very huge in number, and they have to start the revolution. Okay, poor people cannot start the revolution. Poor means very poor people cannot start the revolution. What is the reason? They are so busy to find their livelihood, to search for their 3 square meals a day or bread, whatever you call. Okay, so they cannot start, they cannot lead the any revolution. Now, second category, peasants and artisans. And third category, small peasants, landless labor, servants. All this landless labor, they are working for actually nobles and feudal lords. Now the point is, this third category of the third estate are the most miserable class. Okay, already third estate is discriminated, and there again third category of the third estate. So, but these are the people who are going to take charge of the revolution. Now the point is, there are other horrible things. Okay, for example, actually third estate people have to pay all taxes. They have to pay all taxes. All taxes. Now, clergies, nobilities, they are born with privileges. They are born with privileges. This is the biggest problem in the French society. French society was divided, and first estate, second estate have got that privilege, and third estate doesn't have any privilege. Moreover, they have to pay a lot of taxes. Okay, so for example, clergy, they are paying tax named tithe. Okay, so pronunciation, a lot of people tend to pronounce like tithe, no, that's a tithe. Okay, and then they have to pay feudal dues. Feudal dues for second estate people. See, third estate people had to pay taxes to clergies named tithe, and again same third estate people had to pay second estate people feudal dues, and then these people, third estate people, again have to pay taxes to government. They are known as tille, T-I-L-L-E, tille. So these are the different kinds of taxes they have to pay, and make no mistake, they are the poorest of the poor people in the whole society. they have to pay whole lot of taxes, while first estate, second estate people enjoy without paying any taxes to the exchequer of the government. So, this is the horrible situation prevailed at that point in French society. See, as if division of the society is not enough, they were forced to pay so many taxes. So, this is a biggest social problem, economical problem. Okay, the social order and economical order is very much disastrous. So, this is a perfect recipe for revolution. This is one of the important causes for French Revolution. Okay, so you can see, and then this is what we discussed. Tithe is a tax levied by church, and a tail is a tax to be paid by directly to the state. But we have discussed one more thing, that is feudal dues also. Feudal dues. So, that is paid to second estate. So, these are the problems faced by the third estate people. And if you see, 90% of the population is who? Third estate people, 90%. Only 10% of the population is first estate and second estate people. Now, 60% of the land is owned by first and second estate people, who are only 10%. So, that is the interesting thing. 10% of the people, okay, they own 60% of the land. So, I mean, at that time, whole France population was just around 2.5 crores. Roughly 2.5 crores, that was the population of whole country. In that, 90% are third estate people, but they don't have any land. So, that was the biggest problem. So, this is what I was talking about, privileges. Okay. Clergy people, nobility people always enjoyed privileges by birth, whereas third estate people, okay, they did not enjoy anything, instead they were forced to pay taxes. They even asked to build roads. Okay. That was the problem. Okay. Then struggle to survive, you can call it a subsistence crisis. What is this? Subsistence crisis. Subsistence crisis. Okay. So, what is subsistence actually? Subsistence, you can call it subsistence crisis. Subsistence means survival. Survival. I told you the immediate cause of French Revolution is bread. Okay. So, bread was the problem, food was a problem. Harvest was not that great, okay. Wages were not that great, okay. So, there was inflation. So, these are all the problems. So, now you call it a subsistence crisis. See, French population at that time was 23 million, okay, and then it became 25 million. So, actually 28 million means from 1715 to 1789, 28 million, there was 5 million population increase. So, now do not compare this by Indian standards. Indian standards are very high in population, so it does not look like a problem. So, do not compare from Indian standards. For French people, 5 million for those years was a big problem, and when population increases, there is a demand for food, shortage of food, inflation increases, and then other problem is most of the people use it to work in shops, other small factories and shops. Their wages did not increase in tune with the inflation or the prices of the commodities. So, they have faced that problem. And other problem is, you can see that drought, hailstorms, severe winters. When there is a severe winter, harvest will not be that great. When there is a drought, harvest will not be that great. So, see, when there is no water, that is drought. When there is winter, that is a problem. When it rains heavily with the hailstorms, that is also a problem. So, all things just happened, and at that time France was facing this subsistence crisis very frequently, and then old regime means, try to understand, monarchy, that is Louis XVI monarchy. From here onwards, when we use the word old regime, that is the kingdom of Louis XVI. So, that was a very frequent happening, okay, and it led to subsistence crisis, survival problem. And now this is one other reason, division of society one reason, okay, and then in the beginning itself empty exchequer is one problem, that is one problem, and then this is third problem is subsistence crisis, and the fourth problem, or you may call it causes of French Revolution, that is emergence of middle class. Emergence of middle class. I think when I was discussing estates of France, I told you to remember the first category of third estate, like rich merchants, lawyers, court officials, all those people. Now we are discussing, okay, those people. The reason is, I told you they have become rich, wealthy, educated. How did they become rich? Because they started some trades, overseas trades, particularly woolen, silk, woolen and silk. So, either they exported woolen or they have sold that woolen and silk to rich people in the society. Somehow they amassed wealth. Don't think that they have become richer than first and second estate people, but they have become considerably rich, good enough to become a force to reckon with or to lead revolution. This is what happened. So, you can call it growing middle class or emergence of a middle class. Okay. So, then you see, I told you, when you don't have bread, when you don't have food, you don't think about revolution. But when you get food, when you get enough riches, then you think about what's next. What is our problem? We got food, we got enough money. What is the problem? We don't have freedom. We don't have a equality. We don't have a justice. People start thinking about us. Moreover, the main concept this middle class people thought is, this so-called privilege is a horrible thing. So, we have to do away with this privileges by birth. That means, you can become a great person, you can enjoy some privileges, okay, if you did something for the country, but you are just born in a clergy family, are born in a nobility family, immediately you get some privileges. That is not fair. We need level playing field for all the people, that is what equality. So, they thought, they always were against privileges by birth. This is what I told you. Understand? All the educated people believed that privileges by birth is a wrong thing. We have to condemn that. We have to find a solution for that. So, then how should you have a privilege? By merit. By merit. Merit means, as I told you, you serve in army or did something to the country, you are in a good position by virtue of your hard work, that is merit. By merit, but not by birth. So, privilege by birth was condemned by middle class people, strong middle class people who are educated and wealthy. So, this is what happened. Now, next one is, another important cause for French Revolution is influence of philosophers. Philosophers. Okay. There are lot of philosophers and they have influenced. Let us have a look at philosophers. Who are they? So, this is last cause of a French Revolution, but very important because some of the ideas were really path breaking. Path breaking. I will tell you why path breaking. Particularly one guy, I really respect him as somebody who changed the whole polity of the world. I will tell you how. So, philosophers, John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and then Montesquieu. Remember these names? John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, pronunciation also Rousseau, Jean-Jacques, not S is silent here, not Jacques. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Montesquieu. The reason when I am talking about pronunciation, don't think it's like English class. The reason is these French names are very much tongue twisters and full of silent letters. So, now what did they do? For example, John Locke wrote 2 treatises of government. 2 treatises of government. 2 treatises of government. So, you know, treatise means theories of government. What are the 2 treatises? So, those 2 treatises are doctrine of divine and absolute right. Absolute right. Doctrine of divine and absolute right. That means John Locke was against these 2. Doctrine of divine means actually most of the kings, emperors believe that they are the heirs of a god, or like son of a god. I am the god, you are the subjects. This is the language of the monarchy. Language of the monarchy. So, now John Locke wrote in that book 2 treatises of government that doctrine of divine is absolutely wrong. King is not God, he is not a heir of a God. People are not subjects, people are citizens, they are citizens. Democratic language is citizens, monarchy language is subjects. So, now we have to change that perception, mindset, language, everything. Then absolute right. This is again monarchy concept, absolute right, because king is the legislature, king is the executive, king is the judiciary. There is nobody to advise. If anybody advises, they may not live. So, this is the problem. So, these two perceptions or theories were criticized by John Locke in his book Two Treatises of Government. And second one is actually Montesquieu. See, Montesquieu, what did he do? When I told you, I had a lot of regard for him, because you know, in modern democracies, all modern democracies have three organs of the government, that is legislature, executive, and then judiciary. And who is the one who proposed that first? This guy. So, whole world owes to him, in debt of him. Is it true or not? Because every country runs like that with three organs. So, Montesquieu is such a powerful guy at that time, who proposed a division of powers, or you call it three organs of government. Okay. The reason is very simple. This is the very spirit of democracy. When you have three institutions or three organs of the government, each other checks the powers of other organs. That is very important. That is very important aspect of a democracy. And then there is one more guy, one more philosopher. His name is Rousseau. So actually, he wrote a book named Social Contract. Actually, he wrote a book, Social Contract. His idea was simple, like a government and, the relationship between government and people should be like a contract. It should be like an unwritten contract. It should be like a unwritten contract. So that means government has to honor the promises, whatever made to them, they have to deliver the performance. So that is social contract, and it was written by Rousseau, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. There were other philosophers also, like Voltaire, other philosophers, but these three are main. Okay. So Montesquieu wrote Spirit of Laws. In that book, he proposed these three organs of government. And very interestingly, USA just got freedom at that time from Great Britain. They immediately followed this. And American Constitution and its guarantee of individual rights was also important example for political thinkers in France. How did they get that idea that individual rights? It is also from French Revolution. So many people say that Declaration of Independence document of America is so powerful, and they were also influenced by French Revolution and ideals of French Revolution and philosophers of France. So, and how did these people actually influence the masses? Here one thing you have to understand is, it was very tough job for philosophers of France to influence the common masses. What is the reason? At that time, literacy was not that great. Literacy was very less. You are writing a book, and how can a common man access the book, and when he is not literate, how can he read it? But somehow they managed, and what really happened is, those people who could read, they have spread the message far and wide that a society must be like this. Okay, government cannot have absolute power. Okay, government cannot take all the decisions. People should have a role to play. It's like people cannot be spectators in a government. They have to play their part. They should be participants in the democracy. Okay, first of all, it should be democracy. So people who read, they discussed this everywhere, in saloons, okay, coffee shops, everywhere they discussed, coffee houses, salons, everywhere. Then what happened is, now on the other hand, King 16th, okay, Louis 16th was planning to impose taxes. We have already discussed debt is 2 billion livres, 2 billion livres. Now, he has no other way other than imposing taxes. That was the only solution, and now these people influenced. These are all just trying to explode all these reasons, political, economical, all social, all that sort of reasons, including philosophers, were trying to trigger that French Revolution. And then at that time, Louis XVI wanted to impose taxes. One interesting fact you have to understand here is, Louis XVI is an absolute monarch. He has the right to take any decision to impose taxes. But in French, in France at that time, he doesn't have the right to impose taxes. He doesn't have the right to impose taxes. So there is a way to do it. He has to summon all the estates, first estate, second estate, third estate, all of them he has to summon them. Okay, and then with their consent he can impose taxes. This is the procedure or a protocol. Now the point is, he wants to do that. Okay, so we call this estate general. What is this? Estates general. To make you understand, we can say it is like a parliament. At that time, parliament is a democratic word, but we say it is equal to parliament. 3 estates. So actually, summoning 3 estates was a very rare thing. It never happened in 175 years. You can see that last time it was, summoned was 1614. Okay? Now 1718. So how many years? More than 100 years, 170 something like that. So you can understand the gravity of the situation, because it never happened in 175 years, and because of the economic problems, there was no option. He was left with no option but to convene a meeting, a staff of a general, and you all know that again it happened in a great palace, that is Versailles Palace. Resplendent, magnificent, spectacular palace, that is a Versailles Palace. So all estates were summoned and a meeting took place there, and then the very interesting thing is 300 people from first estate and 300 people from second estate. That means 300 plus 300, 600, and then 600 people from third estate. This is what happened. Now see, there was the method of voting is very interesting. 300 people have got only one vote. This 300 people one vote, and 600 people one vote. This is the earlier method of voting. Now, if you vote like this, first and second estate people are not paying taxes. Third estate people are only paying taxes. If king proposes to impose more taxes, then it would be more burden on third estate people. First and second estate people will easily say that, okay, we will agree, they vote in favor of the imposing taxes, because they are not paying taxes. So it becomes 2-1. So third estate people are going to lose this, with the 2-1 majority. I mean, they are going to lose. So that is the biggest problem. This time, as I told you, emergence of middle class, they are educated. They have their own ideas. They came prepared. They came prepared to oppose this method of voting. Method of voting. So they also came with 400 letters. I told you 3 categories are there. 3 categories in 3 estate, I mean 3rd estate. In that, 2nd and 3rd category are not coming. Only 1st category are going. And 2nd and 3rd category people, actually, they wrote letters. So these people were acting like representatives, who 1st category of 3rd estate people are acting as a representatives of a whole 3rd estate. They took all these 40,000 letters, and as usual, King Louis XVI was determined to continue the same practice. What is the same practice? This practice, this voting method. But these people were actually inspired by the philosophers, their own intelligence and education. They are pretty determined to oppose this practice. You know what was their proposal? Their proposal is go for each member 1 vote. 300 votes. 300 votes. You all got 600. We also got 600. Then it will become a tie. Okay. At least if you cannot win that voting, it will be tie. So in a tie, you need some kind of a tiebreaker or something. You cannot propose that tax because you don't have the majority. So that is the plan of a 3rd estate. They don't want to follow the old method of voting. This is what happened. King was determined that way. 3rd estate people were determined a new method, and it's a kind of a deadlock. Then what happens is 3rd estate people are going to walk out of the palace. Not totally out of the palace, that room. Okay. Now, you can see here, they assembled in the hall of indoor tennis grounds, Versailles. What happened? They walked out of the room, but they did not leave the palace. They were in indoor tennis court in the grounds of Versailles. They assembled there. And this is another historic incident, because they wanted to sit there. There itself they wanted to write the constitution. Very interestingly, they were acting as if they were the spokesperson of the representatives of the whole country. They came as representatives of the 3rd estate. Now they are acting as a representative of a whole country, because they wanted to write the constitution and leave that place until they complete the constitution for the country. They don't want to disband, they don't want to leave that place. What is that? We call it a tennis court oath. What is that? Tennis court oath. We call this tennis court oath. They took a oath not to leave that place, and they declared themselves as National Assembly. Now, slowly democratic terms are appearing. You can see that monarchy, okay, is going to give way to National Assembly. What is this word assembly, national, all these democratic ideas, and for that 2 people led this revolution here, that is Mirabeau and Abbesius. These two people are very important. What did they actually do? Mirabeau and Abesius. See here, Mirabeau is second estate person, okay? Abesius is a first estate person. What are they actually doing? They were actually fighting for third estate people. This is such a noble cause. Can you ever imagine that first and second estate people were leading the third estate movement? But it happened because first and second estate people, okay, Mirabeau second estate, Abesius first estate, they were also not happy with the brutal treatment meted out to the third estate people. That is why they wanted to help third estate people. So, they are taking the charge of that revolution or drafting the constitution. Okay. So, what they did is actually Mirabeau brought some journals, he delivered some powerful speeches, influenced the people. He was so inspiring there in Versailles. And you know, Abesius, he even wrote a book called What is Third Estate? I mean, a pamphlet known as What is a Third Estate? Who wrote that? Abesius. Abesius even wrote a book, What is Third Estate? So, now understand these two people, second estate person Mirabeau, first estate person, that means he is a priest. He himself is a priest. Abesius, these people led the revolution. Actually, they were trying to draft the constitution and they declared it as a National Assembly. So, constitution, assembly, these are all democratic ideas here. Now, while all this is happening, where is it happening? In the tennis court of Versailles Palace, tennis court of Versailles Palace. On the other hand, actually what happened is, there is severe winter, bad harvest, shortage of bread. You know, some people hoarded, you know, it happens in even modern democracy also. They create artificial scarcity. For example, onions, okay, those people hoard it in godowns, and when prices go up, they sell. This is against the law. Even at that time, already people are facing the shortage of food, no bread, poor harvest, severe winter, all these problems, drought, everything. And to make matters worse, some greedy shopkeepers or traders, what they are doing is, they are hoarding the bread and they are causing inflation. Okay? People are suffering, and you know, there were long queues before shops. Women were standing in long queues. So, there is always a limit for the patience of the people. So, when that is lost, people start a revolution. And of course, in modern day, a revolution will never take place. You know why? These days politicians, they make you starve. When they starve you, when you starve, they come with the freebies, 1 kg dal, 1 kg rice, like that. Then your hunger is satiated, and then you don't go for a revolution. So, revolution is highly unlikely in modern democracies, because politicians are very clever. They make you starve, and then they act as if they are helping you with freebies. That is a freebie culture. But at that time, kings, dynasties were unconcerned about the plight of the people. They were so cruel, brutal to the people. So, they have let the situation go out of control. They have tested the patience of the people, and then people agitated. They came onto the streets. This is what happened. This is what we discussed. They started storming the Bastille prison. I told you in the beginning, and I was talking about, like, it's like a flashback why all this happened. This is the reason. Then at the same time, they came to know that what happened here in the villages. In the villages, what happened? In the cities, they thought king is sending some troops to suppress them. In villages, they came to know that some of the landlords, they are sending bands of brigands, that means some violent people, to burn their crops. Now what happened is, this is what happened in villages. In villages, they got rumors, it's all rumors, we don't know whether true or not, they got rumors that on one hand king is trying to suppress the people, on the other hand these noble people are sending brigades to burn the ripe crops. So now this is too much for them to hold their anger. So whatever they got, I mean hoes, pitchforks, all agriculture tools, they took those tools as weapons. They started attacking the manors, shatrus. Shatrus means castles. Manors means they are like big manors in estates. So they went and damaged all that shatrus and manors. They have burned the documents or books, you know, manorial dues. Manorial dues means these are dues which peasants have to pay for second estate people. Those documents, records. So if you burn them, you don't have to pay. That was the intention of the people, peasants, because they were so angry with the king, they were so angry with the second estate people, first estate people also. So because of that, mainly second estate people, because of that, they had to flee those, country. They have to flee to other countries because they got money. I mean, second estate people, landlords, feudal lords, those people fled France because they feared the anger of the peasants. Okay, so this is what I told: hoes, pitchforks, they attacked chateaux and manors also. Okay, so this is what happened. One minute, let me drink water. Now this is what happened. Those people who are very angry, ladies and all peasants, everybody, they looted hoarded grain, burned down the documents containing manorial dues. I have just discussed that now. Okay. Earlier I told some greedy traders, people, they hoarded the bread and other essential commodities. So now they were angry that they were hoarded, that's why they are going and just looting all that grain and bread, whatever there. This is what happened. Okay, and then now actually king is now taking a back step. He has censored the terror, he has censored the anger of the people. Now he is trying to make peace with the National Assembly people. Okay, they were actually, they have drafted the constitution in 1791. It's a very important. Okay, in 1791. Okay, 1781 is the storming of the Bastille, and 1791 is the drafting of the constitution. So before that, what really happened is, actually the king accorded a recognition. He accorded recognition to the National Assembly. National Assembly. Okay, this is what happened. And now immediately after that, there are a series of measures. What were the important problems? This estate divisions, all were abolished. Okay? And other problem is plethora of taxes for common man, all that taxes were also abolished. See, taxes. Okay? So, feudal system was abolished, taxes were removed. So, members of the clergy too were forced to give up their privileges, and then tithes were abolished, no tithe, no tithe, no feudal dues, all of the, and very interestingly, lands of the first and second estate people were confiscated. You understand? So, they were taken, lands were taken. As a result of that, government got lot of money, 2 billion livres. Okay? So, France was under tremendous pressure to pay debt to individuals, as well as economic situation was not that great. Now, France got that money, 2 billion livres. Now, as I discussed, France has become constitutional monarchy. This is important development. Okay? Development. You can write separately like one timeline. First one is monarchy. Monarchy has become constitutional monarchy. Now, if you see here, people are very kind people. I mean, common people are very kind. You know why? See, if people are really angry, they would have done away with monarchy. They would have done away with the monarchy. But still now you have monarchy. That means king is going to enjoy his privilege, I mean as a king, but only difference is his powers are checked with constitution. So he has to follow constitution. You know that point John Locke, what he wrote? Doctrine of divine, absolute right. So that absolute right is not there now, absolute power, because you know in any government when you have absolute power, you will get corrupted. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Have you heard that? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That is why there is no absolute power for King Louis XVI now. He is going to be checked by constitution. He has to follow constitution. That is a major development. But one interesting thing is, people thought king is interested with this constitution, he wants to follow it. But that is not true. That is not true. Just to save that day or to save his face, he just pretended as if I accepted that. He accorded a recognition to National Assembly and the Constitution, but in reality, we all know that his wife Maria Antoinette is from Austria, so that is a very big kingdom. Now, he also sought help from Prussia, not Russia, Prussia was kingdom at that time. So, he wanted help from Prussia as well as Austria, and he is making secret negotiations with them to suppress the revolution in France. That angered people even more. That is what we are going to discuss. So, he did not actually recognize, he was not actually interested in democracy. So, as I told you, France was always trying to make one step forward democracy, one step backwards democracy. This is what happened. You will come to know throughout this lesson concept. He wanted to go forward, France, it is one step forward now. We are talking about constitution, we are talking about National Assembly, these are all democratic concepts, but we will also see how this effort towards democracy is stopped by King Leo XVI, some other people. Okay. Even people who comes after this king also do not follow exact democracy. What really happens, we will discuss that. Now, if you see this here, some people are known as passive citizens. They do not have votes. Women, children, youth below 25 years. It is not like 18 years now. People below 25 years have no right to vote. That is one problem. And women, whatever your age, whatever you are, women means no vote. This is the biggest problem. This is the most important point also. It takes France up to 1946. Women get right to vote in 1946. Until then, no right to vote for them. This is the most regressive thing happens in French Revolution in this lesson. It will take a lot of time. Whoever comes to the power, they do not give right to vote. That is the worst thing to have happened to women at that time. Okay. Then all these people are known as passive citizens. Passive citizens cannot vote. Passive citizens cannot vote. Only active citizens vote. And even active citizens, all the people cannot vote. Here active citizens means those people should pay tax equal to 3 days wages. Understand? Only taxpayers can vote. See what a wonderful concept it was at that time. Only people who paid tax, and how much tax? That tax must be equal to minimum 3 days wages, and they must be above 25. Then they can they can vote. And how many people are there? 50,000 people. They can elect 50,000 people there. These 50,000 people elect 745 members, that is National Assembly. So now National Assembly can control king, but king has got veto power. Okay. They also control ministers also. Okay. On the other side, judiciary are separately voted. Judiciary is a separate organ here. So of course it is little bit democratic, but it is different from the modern democracy. King is still there, is a monarchy, constitutional monarchy. So king has got, what is the king power? Veto power. If he wants to object anything, he can object with his veto power. Veto means even one person can oppose, he has that power. But at the same time, assembly can control him, those elected people. So it was the structure at that time. Okay. So Montesquieu idea is followed here: legislature, executive, judiciary. So the biggest problem is women were not given right to vote, and other problem is most of the times whoever comes to power, they are giving right to vote for in other government they say if you should have property to vote. Okay. Now here it's a matter of a tax. If you are a taxpayer, then only you can vote, and the age is 25. Now let us have a look at a timeline. Okay. So 1774 he became the king of France. We call it a world regime. And 1789 it is a storming of the Bastille, as well as Estates General Estates General meeting took place in the same year. 1791 is very important, as it was constitution was drafted in that year, and then 92, 93 we are going to discuss that. We are going to discuss that. Okay. Now, the Constitution 1791 vested the powers to make laws in National Assembly, which was indirectly elected. But citizens voted for a group of electors who would choose. I think we have discussed all this. We have discussed all this. And this is important thing. Okay? The Constitution began with the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. Even here you can see that rights of a man, that's very discriminating. Woman is not included there. So, this is another important development. Okay? This is where it started freedom of speech, right to life, freedom of opinion, equality before law. All these democratic concepts, ideas took place, and they said it is an inalienable right. Inalienable means inseparable right of the people. So, all these rights, you get all these rights by birth. Nobody has power to separate you from those rights. Inalienable means they don't have power to separate. So, that's rights, Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. That's the important development. Now, so situation in France continue to be tense. Why it is tense? There are two important things. Main important thing is that whoever pay taxes have the right to vote. This is the triggering point again here. So, the common masses, peasants, were not at all happy with this concept. They want everybody to have a right to vote. You call it a universal adult franchise. They want universal adult franchise. So, that is what they want. And then of course, women are excluded from a right to vote, they are also unhappy. So, this unhappiness is going to continue, and it is not the end of the game here, because those people were not happy. And moreover, as I told you, king was actually not in favor of the constitution and democracy. He has his own methods, making secret negotiations with Prussia and Austria, and then that is another problem here. So, people wanted to continue this revolution, but one thing you have to understand is this revolution is going to be costly for them, because as I told you, a common man cannot start a revolution and cannot sustain that revolution for a long time, because most of the times these men are going to fight wars or revolutions and ladies are left at home, and now women are left with all the responsibilities, livelihood, making earning money and taking care of household duties and everything. Men are always fighting in the wars or revolutions. It has become a big problem. Still, people are pretty determined to continue this revolution at any cost, because they are not happy with the outcome of the that revolution. Okay, whatever happened. So, this is what happened here. France made plans to send troops to put down the events that had been taking place there in 1789. Before this could happen, National Assembly, as I told you, he was making negotiations with Prussia and Austria. Now, National Assembly is in charge. King is also there. This is constitutional monarchy, but National Assembly is very active. They took a decision that we have to go for a war against Prussia and Austria. You know, see what happened, the greatness of French Revolution is that all the philosophers and the people, they are not content with France and France freedom or France future. They wanted to spread these ideas throughout the Europe, if possible whole world, because they are against these aristocracies, they are against these nobles like clergies. They wanted this system to be ended, this cruel system to be ended. This is more or less the same in other countries also, more or less with different names. There are some sections of the societies enjoying lot of privileges. They wanted to end. That is why now it has become, it is not like France versus Prussia or Austria. It is like third estate people of France versus aristocracies or nobles of all the countries, including France and Prussia or Austria and even other countries. Because you will come to know they are going to wage a war on other countries also, almost all neighbors, because of this issue. Now they declared war against Prussia and Austria. Thousands of volunteers. I told you, men are away from houses, but still they don't mind. They wanted to go and fight in wars. So this is like against kings and aristocracies of the Europe. This is what I told you. And another important thing you have to understand here is, there it all started. People started their march. People started their march from Marseille to France, Paris. From Marseille to Paris. People started marching from Marseille to Paris. Now, try to understand, Marseille is city. Marseille is a national anthem. Please try to understand here, like Versailles, Versailles is palace, Marseille is a city, Marseille is a city, S is silent, but what is this? Marseille, again here L is silent, Marseille. Marseille is the national anthem of France. So national anthem started here, because they started march from Marseille to Paris. This is not a city, this is national anthem. National anthem. Because they started their march from Marseille. That is why their national anthem is known as Marseillaise. Marseillaise. L is silent. And who wrote that? Roget de Lisle. Roget de Lisle is the person. Roget de Lisle is the person, poet who wrote that. Okay. So Marseille is now national anthem of France. This is the major development at that time. Okay. Then another important one here is how France abolishes monarchy and becomes republic. Now try to understand, monarchy has become constitutional monarchy. This is the timeline of important events. Monarchy has become constitutional monarchy. Now how constitutional monarchy is going to give way for republic? Republic is a pure democracy now, no monarchy, nothing. Republic is a pure republic. How this is going to happen? So we have already discussed that men are living away from families, and then, you know, as I told you, people are not happy with the 1791 constitution, okay, because okay. Who led the French Revolution? Lokesh. Yeah, we have seen that Mirabeau and Abesius, those second estate and first estate people, they really led the revolution, and they are also responsible for drafting the constitution. Sir, change to full screen. Okay, is that full screen? Okay, is asking, all are asking slides on full view. And Siddiqui is asking why he needed consent for imposing taxes when he was the monarch. And that's a good question, but it was the way how it was. Okay, as I told you, it was very strange that a monarch had to follow some procedures and protocols. But it's very strange, but that was true. He has to follow. How division of this active passive occurred. So that is the drawback of National Assembly. They also divided people like active and passive citizens. That was not true, but they followed that. That's why there is a lot of dissatisfaction. That is the reason why it is continued now. The French Revolution is continued. You can see that Constitution 1791 gave political rights only to richer sections of this society. That means whoever paid taxes. Now, important thing is political clubs have become a rallying point. Political clubs. So, one important political club is Jacobean Club. Remember, another important event is going to unfold here. So, there are so many clubs. The important club was Jacobins. You try to understand here, all the people from these Jacobean clubs are very common people. Common people like shopkeepers, artisans, printers, daily wage workers, servants, pastry cooks, shoemakers. You can see all are very common people. They are making political clubs. And their leader, this man is going to be a man of the moment now. Man of the moment. He is going to create a horror now. Maximilian Robespierre. Maximilian Robespierre. So, he was the leader of Jacobean Club. He was the leader of a Jacobean Club. So, this is what happened. So, clubs have become a rallying point. There are so many clubs. Even women have clubs. We will discuss in a separate chapter. Women had different clubs because they were the most discriminated lot of the society. Now, the point is here, Jacobean Club has something to do. They are going to change the future of France now with their leader Maximilian Robespierre. This Maximilian Robespierre is considered like a villain or a hero. Okay, you may hate him or love him, but you cannot ignore him. That's the character of Robespierre. He has done some wonderful things, but he also created some terrors. We are going to discuss. He's going to be the head of France now, head of France, and his ruling is known as reign of terror, ruling of terror. Okay, so first of all, in the society, what really happened is, all the rich people used to wear knee breeches. That means there were some sort of trousers up to knee here, trousers are there, but knee breeches up to knee. Okay, like hunters or something like that, they used to wear knee breeches. There is a perception in the society, whoever wears knee breeches are very rich. They must belong to first estate or second estate, clergy or nobility. They belong to that one. So, it has become symbol of a status, elite people. Now, first of all, this Jacobean club people wanted to change that dress code also. They wanted to counter them with their own dress code. Their own dress code is like they call it sans culottes. Sans culottes. So, they wanted to wear striped trousers. Striped trousers. Sans culottes means breeches. Sans means without. S-A-N-S, sans means without. So, they wanted to wear striped trousers, it means without breeches, knee breeches. So, it is like countering them with the dress code to say that we are going to dominate you. So far, breeches have dominated those people who wore that. Now, they wanted to stop that one. Okay. So, it was a way of proclaiming the power wielded by the wearers of knee breeches. So, what they started? Sans culottes. Sans culottes. Okay. So, sans means without, culottes means breeches. What is without breeches? Striped trousers. Jacobean club people started wearing striped trousers, and also they wore a red cap. You will come to know later, this is known as a Phrygian cap. Phrygian cap, red cap. If you wear that, you are free. You are not a slave. You are not a bonded labor. It is going to symbolize that you are a free man. So, again here women were not allowed to do so, not even to wear that Phrygian cap or a red cap. Now, what happened is, again there was some shortage of bread. It is not given over here in this test, but again what happened is, there was some shortage of bread, and Jacobians planned to insurrect. Okay, they wanted to attack. They wanted to attack king's palace itself. Okay, so what they did is, at that time king was living in a palace known as Tuileries. It was not Versailles palace, Tuileries palace. At that time, these people went there, Jacobians, under the leadership of who is that? Maximilian Robespierre. So, they massacred king's guards. They have massacred king's guard. They have taken king himself as a hostage for several hours. Then later, assembly voted. Okay, assembly voted. Assembly voted to. So this is what they are asking, to go for full screen. Will you call her? Which one? This one? Here? This one? This one? Because lot of students are asking. This one? Okay. Okay. A lot of students are asking there. So, now you can see that people are massacred, killed. King was taken as a hostage, and assembly voted to arrest imprison royal family. So, now this is the problem. Royal family is now arrested. Now, elections were held. Robespierre became the head of the government. Now, they are calling it convention. What is this? convention. Where is it? What happened to it? Oh my God. Okay. So, I think we have discussed this already. No. So, when we are making it, we are getting this problem. We want previous slide. Where is this? Can you call her? Okay. We got it, no problem. So this is the okay. So elections were held. This is what I was talking about. This is very important. Always remember, first monarchy, then constitutional monarchy. Now, actually in constitutional monarchy, it was known as National Assembly. Now, assembly is known as convention. Okay. So, actually now it has become republic. Monarchy to constitutional monarchy. In constitutional monarchy, it was National Assembly. Now, in republic, assembly is known as convention. And the man behind all this is a head of France is now Robespierre. Robespierre is going to lead France. So, he has taken very swift decisions which were very good for third estate people. The only problem with Robespierre is he was very angry to take revenge on first and second estate people more than welfare of the third estate people. That was a problem. But he did so many good things, okay, for third estate people. Particularly what he did is he declared it republic, and then actually no hereditary or monarchy, it is a republic now. They started to investigate everything what had happened before that government, and then the important thing is this is very unprecedented thing happened. Louis XVI was executed in 1793. Okay, he was executed. Later, his wife was also executed. Okay, in a palace named de la Concorde. Okay, the way they have executed, it was horrible. Okay, actually they got one device with two poles and a very big blade. So they asked the person to lie down, okay, and that blade comes down heavily on the head of the people. So it just started with king, and they started with these people, and every day so many people were killed like that. So many people were beheaded by guillotine. They called it a guillotine. And a person named Guillotine, only E is different. If you remove E, that person's name. Dr. Guillotine, he invented this device. See, there are so many inventions in the world, but he was interested to invent this one, and as a result of that, many people lost their lives, and all those people, every day, lot of people were killed. The only point is, we call it reign of terror. Robespierre government is known as reign of terror, REIGN, reign of terror. That means whoever opposed him, whoever criticized him, they don't have to go against, fight against him. even if they criticized, they were sent to guillotine. Even women also, women also. So, there was a stage when his own party people also sent to guillotine. So, everybody became against him, but he did so many great things we are going to discuss. First, he has abolished slavery. At that time, slavery was in practice, and he has abolished slavery. Okay, you can see that reign of terror. So, what he did is, whoever opposes him, they are arrested, imprisoned, and given sentence. Okay, there is a tribunal, a group of people, they take the decision. Okay, very swift decision is taken. Most of them were sent to guillotine and beheaded. So, Dr. Guillotine is the one who invented that devices. Now, what Robespierre government actually did is, he actually started rationing bread and meat also. Very interesting thing. You might see in governments sending rice and bread or food something, but apart from bread, he also rationed meat also for the people from government side. That was very unprecedented decision. And more importantly, peasants were forced to sell their grains in cities. It was difficult for them to transport to cities, but they were forced. It was a problem for peasants. And one more thing is, he has fixed the prices for everything. Ceiling price. Wages are, okay, ceiling of the wages were there, and prices of the commodities were fixed. And very interestingly, at that time, third estate people used to call first and second estate people like Monsieur, Madam, something like that. That is Sir, Madam. So, he said, all are equal, no Sir, no Madam, all are citizens. Okay? If you are a male citizen, you are a citoyen. See here, citoyen, citoyenne. Okay? It is like that. So, all are citizens, no Madam, no Sir. Because that is there, that slavery attitude, he does not want that. And all the, lands, properties of churches, everything was converted into barracks and offices. This is what happened. Another important thing is, he started one interesting concept called equality bread. What is that? Equality bread. See, there was so much discrimination among the people. We discussed sans culottes. Knee breeches were dressing of elite people. Now, he counted with what is that, sans culottes, striped trousers. Now, even eating habits, those elite people, rich people, first and second estate people ate very white bread, very white bread. Now, what happened is, other people were eating brown bread. What he did is, all of them have to eat same bread. He made that law also. Even eating, all of you have to eat that. Now, he called it equality bread. What is that? Equality bread. So, main thing, he abolished slavery. Whatever privileges were there, he abolished all of them. These are the measures he has taken as the head of France. So, now, but Robespierre did not stop with that. He was there only for 1 year. That 1 year, he did not listen to anybody. See, what is the point? When you say republic, you have to act like a republic. In a republic, you have to listen to people, and you should not react to criticism. In a democracy, people have right to criticize you, people have right to oppose you, but he did not digest that opposition and criticism. And very interestingly, for everything, the only solution is beheading the people. Hundreds of people were beheaded every day. The most horrific scenes in France. As a result, his own party people, his own friends, circles, okay, there was like a committee of safety, some committee was there. Okay, those people were taking decisions, and actually, it's not discussed here. That person was guillotined, and with that, they got really angry. And what happened is, it is an anti-climax. What he started, okay, he was ended with the same thing, that is guillotine. Those people have arrested him, sent him to same guillotine, beheaded him, okay, in 1794. In 1794. So, first thing, king was executed, guillotined. Later, queen was guillotined. These things never happened anywhere in the world. So, now what happened is, other countries started fearing France, because these third estate people are becoming very dangerous for the first and second estate people. In other countries, they may call it with different names, but there was so much division in the society at that time. All those so-called elite, so-called rich people started fearing for their lives, started fearing for their order of the society. They always wanted that privilege should be there for the elite people. So, this is such a big problem. Other countries started thinking they wanted to help France in suppressing the revolutions and Robespierre, everybody. But here, anyway, Robespierre was guillotined. He was also guillotined. Next, another one comes directories. Now, again, remember, first monarchy, then constitutional monarchy, then republic, then comes a directory. Then comes a directory. So, directory did some good job, but again they also were not very progressive there with regressive ideas. But one initiative they have taken is, they were all afraid of Robespierre's government. So, what is the lesson they have learnt is, the power should not be rested in one hand, whether it is a republic. See, he said it is republic, but did he act like a republic? No. So, the point is, these people who started directories, they wanted to learn lesson from them. So, what they did is, actually they just wanted to give power to a group of people known as directory. In directory, you have 5 executives. 5 executives. 5 executives. 5 executives. This is what happened. And now, 2 legislative councils. 2 legislative councils. So, 2 legislative councils are going to appoint a directory. A directory comprises of 5 members. 5 members. Now, the problem is, there is always a difference of opinion between directories and legislative councils. Legislative council have the authority to, remove directories. Now, when they had differences of opinions, they always clashed with their decisions, and as a result, there was a political vacuum, political instability, And one world famous person took advantage of this. Can you guess that world famous person? That is none other than Napoleon Bonaparte. He is more famous than all these people. Napoleon Bonaparte. Actually, his job became easy. The reason is, in military, first and second estate people were not there. Earlier, first and second estate people were there. Now, in higher ranking, first and second estate people were not there, and it made Napoleon's job very easy. From the ranks of military, he rose to that highest position of France. He actually took advantage of this. He took advantage of this political instability or political vacuum, and he started working towards the power. By 1799, he almost got charge of that country, control. But in 1804, he started, crowned himself as a military dictator. He considered himself as a modernizer of Europe, but actually he was like a military dictator. Now, what happened? Did France become a democracy? No. But the way it struggled to become a democracy was so inspiring for other countries. They got inspired. They took a lot of, even Indian constitution, where did we get all this liberty, equality, freedom, all this is inspired by French ideals of French Revolution, equality, liberty, all that. So, he became dictator in 1804, and then up to 1815 Waterloo battle, famous Waterloo battle 1815. So, that was his period 1815 up to 1815. He also made some good decisions, but he was remembered as somebody who was thirsty of territorial expansion, because throughout Europe he expanded all throughout the Europe. First, people thought he was like a liberator of Europe. He himself considered a modernizer of Europe, but history remembers him as military dictator, neither a liberator nor modernizer, but a military dictator who was always interested in expanding his territories. Then Prussia, Russia, Austria, Britain, all these people have to unite to defeat Napoleon Bonaparte. They all united and defeated him in a place named Waterloo. That is why it is known as famous battle, Waterloo battle. So, we still have this topic, but revolution ends, this ends with that. But next we are going to ask small concepts like what was the role of women at that time, and how slavery was abolished, how everyday life was there at that time. These are all there. Very simple concepts, very easy to understand, very small concept, but major portion of French Revolution is covered. So, in the next class, we will try to give finishing touches with that 3 small concepts, and then we move forward to next lesson. Thank you. See you in the next class.